everybody, this is Joe.
And this is Jenna.
From Fantastic Reviews coming at you with this week's In Case You Missed It, covering stories that have happened over the week that might have gotten buried in bigger stories that you might have missed.
Thus the title.
In case you missed it. First up this week, we have a lot of nostalgia in video game news. Nintendo announced that its NES Classic Edition console sold 1.5 million units, and that's huge news. I mean,
that's pretty damn big. I'm not surprised, but that's still pretty big. That's still pretty big.
In case you don't know what it is, it's a mini version of the original NES that was released in, I think it was like 1985 or 1988, somewhere in that era.
80s.
I forget the exact year off the top of my head, but it's a miniature console that is shaped like the NES. Comes with the original, the shape of the original NES controller.
Mm-hmm.
All you do is you plug this system into any HD TV using an HDMI cord, and it comes preloaded with 30 of the most popular games from the NES era. It's only like $60, and
which is fantastic.
It's plug and play anywhere. It's USB powered.
Yeah.
It's easy to see why this thing has become so popular because it's cheap, it's simple, and because most of the people who are picking up are like my age. They're like in the 30s. You grew up with this, so it's really it kind of brings you back to your childhood.
And it seems more and more these days people are really cashing in on the nostalgia factor.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like they're hitting you from the 80s, they're hitting you from the 90s. You're gonna spend a lot of money this year. Just a lot of money.
Yeah. And while 30 games is hardly even close to the comprehensive library that the NES had, they are the most definitive games from the era.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they start releasing other stuff for it.
It wouldn't surprise me if there was
in a couple years. There's like, here you go, guys.
Firmware updates, USB updates, something like that. Who knows what could come on down the line? But one thing is for sure that Nintendo definitely has a huge hit with this one.
Yeah, but $60 for 30 games is also nothing to sneeze at.
I mean, they're games that are 30 years old.
They're 30-year-old games, but they're the games that I could play.
Yeah.
Because I had a Sega. And I can't play anything that has progressed past Sega. So
I think they're actually talking about releasing a Sega console like that.
I would buy one because I would kick your ass in Mortal Kombat. Because that's the only game I can play.
Button masher.
I am, and it works. I will fatality you all day long.
Coming on down the line in the nostalgia department, Square Enix had its 30th anniversary of the Final Fantasy series. There are 2 remakes that we know of that are coming out. The first is Final Fantasy XII, which I don't quite understand why they did a remake of that, because I personally was not a huge fan of that game. I mean, it was okay. I enjoyed the battle system, but I don't understand why. Like, was there really that much of a demand for a remake of Final Fantasy XII? I really don't know.
Maybe they're just jumping numbers.
Who
Get
knows?
them all out there.
Who knows? The game was originally released on the PlayStation 2 back in 2006. The remake is scheduled to be released this year on July 11th.
Mm-hmm.
What they're saying is it's going to have upgraded graphics, upgraded sound. It's also going to feature a different job system that was featured in the Japanese version that didn't make it into the American version.
Ooh, new things. I like new things.
They also teased some images of the remake of Final Fantasy VII. Now, this is the game that fans have been begging for years. Final Fantasy VII this year is actually 20 years old. This is the 20th anniversary of Final Fantasy VII. So we were expecting some big things coming out of the Final Fantasy celebration.
It's pretty damn good for a game that was supposed to be the Final Fantasy. And now there's like 28 of them. And then they're re-releasing new copies 20 years later. It's pretty good on you.
But Final Fantasy VII was the only one that the fans, at least to my knowledge, the only one that the fans were really, really begging to get. I mean, they remastered Final Fantasy X and 10 Part 2. And that was, okay, fine. People might have missed that in that console
What was so special about 7?
It was just, like, the story was amazing. It was very intricate. The battle system was great. The way that you leveled up and the way that you used different spells and stuff. It was, debatably the perfect game. The perfect RPG.
I'd debate you all day, but I have no ammunition to throw in there.
I think it's more the story than anything else, though, at least for me, because it was so intricate. You had so many characters with so many different backgrounds. They're all so incredibly well developed.
Good. Go Final
that
Fantasy
it
team.
spawned a bunch of sequels and movies and stuff like that. Anyway, we're getting off track. The point is that the fans wanted Final Fantasy VII. They teased some images, but from the Square Enix anniversary celebration that was there, they were talking with the press, and the interpretation of what was said was that they're still storyboarding the remake. They have the images out. They've created a benchmark for what they want the graphics to look like. Production hasn't even started yet.
Don't want to rush. You can't rush perfection.
And they're saying this week that it may skip this console of generations altogether, or generation of consoles altogether.
Again, you can't rush perfection. If it's the story that people have wanted and the remake that people wanted, you want to give them time for it.
But my problem with it is that they've remade other games that no one asked for. No one wanted the remakes of the other games, at least to my knowledge.
Maybe they were trying to perfect their art to get the remake done that they wanted.
I don't buy it.
Maybe they were just throwing them out there to get the right one.
I don't buy it.
I know.
I
have faith
it's
in
the one that It's the one that the fans wanted, and I think I read somewhere a couple of years back that the reason why they didn't do it is simply because there was so much demand for it. They just didn't want to do it. They wanted to move on with the series.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But also, if you have that many people who want it, that many people who demand it, and then you rush it out and it's crap, how many people are going to be mad and disappointed? Wouldn't you rather wait a few more years, get it perfect, and send it out, than rush it through and then it's a piss poor job?
Well, I agree with it, but they could have started it 5 years ago.
Maybe they didn't want to because they didn't want to get hung up on that while they had other stories to tell.
And
the other remakes were easier. I believe in you, Final Fantasy team. I don't even play your games.
At any rate, Final Fantasy VII Remake is coming. We don't know when. But in the meantime, between now and when that comes out, they did say that they are working on other Final Fantasy titles.
Well, that's good to know. Moving on from that now, we do have some comic book news. Darth Maul got a comic book that officially ties in with all the new canon that they're creating in the Star Wars universe. It just released this past Wednesday. So you can go pick it up. It's be in stores. They did say it was official canon. They actually sat down with the Star Wars story group and created it to be part of this continued universe. Now I don't know exactly how it ties in because I did not enjoy the prequels, so I don't know enough about Darth Maul. Although there is a fantastic fan video that I wish was canon because that was freaking phenomenal.
Yeah, that was.
But he knows more about Darth Maul, so you go ahead and talk about that.
Well, I mean, the fan-made video goes into something of his origin, how he became, who he is. I'll put a link up so you can see it, but it was really, really well done.
So well done. Like, I was like, oh, now I understand his motivation. Has nothing to do with the story, but it was so good.
But as far as the comic is concerned, it is tied in with The Force Awakens because he does let his anger and frustration out in the comic book on some Rathtars, which is the beast that we saw Han Solo smuggling aboard aboard his ship in The Force Awakens.
Oh. So
that's the only real tie-in so far. If they do any further tie-ins, it'll probably be further in the series.
Next up is some movie news, though. I'm pretty excited about the next one. You want to announce it?
You go ahead.
All right, they're doing Sharknado 5. We don't need it, but it's a movie we deserve to have. It's so terrible and wonderful, and everybody should just watch those movies. And they have, because now they've made about $1 billion.
The whole series is a dumpster fire.
It's so bad,
but
I love it.
It's so bad that it's good.
You know why, though? It never took itself seriously. It never did.
It might have in like the first one, maybe the second one.
The first 15 minutes of the first one, they're like, maybe this will be real. And then a Sharknado comes and they're like, nope.
But then the minute that the dude dives through a shark with a chainsaw, I think all bets were off at that point.
But I think that's why it was so campy and just so improbable. It was fantastic. I like it. So, both Ian Ziering, what is his name?
Ian Ziering.
Ian Ziering and Tara Reid will be back. Maybe she'll die this time. I don't know.
I don't know.
This time they have to save the entire Earth from a global Sharknado. The previous one was they had to save a couple different countries from a global Sharknado. Now it's the whole world. So, production is supposed to begin soon, and it should release this summer. So we're already into February. I'm assuming the shoot will take 2 weeks, and they're just gonna put it out, and we'll all be happy with it.
But let's be honest, it's on Sci-Fi, and Sci-Fi. I mean,
Sci-Fi can do it in a
as
weekend.
cheesy as they can get, they really can do no wrong.
They really can't, because we're just gonna go look at it and be like, oh look, the microphones are in the way. This was done on purpose. No, it wasn't. Mike fell asleep, and no one's gonna care. It's gonna be a good time.
It's straight entertainment, and watch it just
Watch it just to
maybe get drunk and watch it.
It's so stupid. Take a shot every time there's a shark. You'll be drunk in 20 seconds.
You'll be dead.
You'll pass out before you die. You'll be fine.
No, you'll be dead.
No, you'll be fine. If you're under 21, don't do this. Go on with the next story.
Further on in movie news, there is some speculation as to when we'll see the first trailer for the new Star Wars installment, The Last Jedi. It is expected to show at the Star Wars Celebration in April, which is going on down in Florida. I think it's in Orlando.
Somewhere that we can't be, so it's just sad.
Yeah. The release date is still December 15th for The Last Jedi.
So it's pretty good. Coming up on it. No idea what it's going to be yet, but excited.
Star Wars, they've done a really, really good job of keeping things under wraps and not giving away too much. I thought the marketing that they did for The Force Awakens and for Rogue One was fantastic. We pretty much already knew what was going to happen in Rogue One, but I had no idea what was going to happen in The Force Awakens before it came out. So I think that was done really well, and I would expect to see more of the same with The Last Jedi.
Well, it's also, it's Star Wars. They don't have to pump it up too much. They can just be like, oh, look, it's a Star Wars movie. Here's one trailer, and we're all going to go see it. Yeah. Let's be honest. We're all going to go see it.
It's true.
It is. It's very true. We're going to be getting a supernatural World War II movie.
Speaking of Star Wars, this is going to be produced by J.J. Abrams and his company, Bad Robot. And they've done pretty good, with movies so far. They've done the new Star Trek. They did The Force Awakens. They did the Cloverfield series, Super 8, which was also a pretty good movie.
Super 8 was good.
The rumor is that this supernatural World War II movie is going to actually be set in the Cloverfield universe.
Which will be interesting because it's technically will have to be a prequel to the Cloverfield.
Yeah.
But no one in Cloverfield seemed to know it was happening. But then government cover-ups, so we'll see how that works. Not every franchise has to be tied together, man. Everything doesn't have to sync up. But we'll see what happens. I trust J.J. Abrams. He's really great. So, and Bad Robot hasn't really made anything terrible for me yet, so willing to give it a shot.
So far, what we know of the movie is that it's basically going to follow two paratroopers on D-Day that are trying to take down a German tower or stronghold or something like that, and they find that there's more than just Nazis that they are fighting.
It's going to be like alien Nazis, which are even worse than regular
more
Nazis.
zombies. Zombie Nazis.
Zombie Nazis? That's even worse.
Who knows?
I don't know.
They just said supernatural. We don't really know what that means. To me, that means zombies.
I hope it means wizards. I hope there's wizards. To me, that would be great. Sorcerers. Just somebody throwing fireballs. Paratroopers going, I don't know what's happening. Shooting things with guns. Can't get it right. I don't know. That'll be good times, though. But on some more movie news, on a lighter note for me, the next Transformers movie, The Last Night, might be Michael Bay's last Transformer movie ever. But he said that the last two movies, so who knows if that's real.
Take that with a grain of salt, because he said it was going to be the last movie after Dark of the Moon. He said it was going to be the last movie after Age of Extinction. And the reason why he keeps coming back, he says, is because, there's 120 million people coming to see this movie. They're so happy about it. The Make-A-Wish kids are coming on set to take a look at the movies and everything. And, he says it's the joy of all that keeps bringing him back.
Which I'm not going to doubt Michael Bay. I don't know you as a person. But it's really because they keep rolling dumpsters full of money up to his house and just dropping it on his lawn. He's like, well, I guess I'll do this.
He did mention a couple of times it's because 100 million, 120 million people have gone to see the movie and were happy about it. So
no one's happy.
I think that's really the motivation here, is that there are millions of people come to see this movie, which means millions of dollars right to him.
Michael Bay needs to stop doing Transformers. They all are terrible. It's just robot
The
explosions.
first one was pretty good. The second one was and then it just from there.
I miss Shia.
And seriously, Michael Bay, what is with your obsession with Megan Fox? She's fucking terrible. She's a terrible actress.
She's a terrible actress, and she might be better if she actually got someone directing who just wasn't like, look at my boobs, because we don't need Megan Fox. You're a very attractive woman. If you ever see this, we're not dissing you. Stop making Michael Bay movies and maybe you'll progress. I don't know. Because Michael Bay movies are the same movie every time with more explosions and less plot.
It's all explosions and Optimus Prime constantly trying to kill himself.
He's got a savior complex. Sometimes just die. You can just die and not come back. That's also fine. We'll all be fine with you not coming back.
Yeah.
I would be fine with you not coming back. Whatever.
Next up, he's appeared on this show a couple of times. I think in every single installment that we've had of In Case You Missed It, we have brought up Deadpool.
Deadpool deserves to be mentioned every single time because he deserves an Oscar.
The movie was great.
The movie was great.
I'm pumped for the second one. This time they're talking about a possible Deadpool-Wolverine crossover.
Please, Hugh Jackman. I said this every time. I promise we'll let you stop being Wolverine as soon as you do a Deadpool movie.
Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman seem to be on board with the idea of having this crossover happen. Yeah. However, the problem is more in logistics than anything else. Because when you look at now the story arc of the Deadpool movies, you know, you had the first one, which is the setup. The second one, as we know, is going to have Cable in it. Maybe that's going to turn into an X-Force type thing, and Deadpool 3 might be more along that line. So it's kind of hard at this point to get a Deadpool-Wolverine crossover without making it feel shoehorned.
Nope,
and that's the
agree.
problem. That's the problem that they're trying to get around.
But you can do, the thing is, you can do anything with Deadpool. He can go back in time if he wanted to. He can go forward in time. He can go to other dimensions. He could do whatever he wants.
And in the comics, he's done all of that.
He has. So you could really do anything with Deadpool. And I think the people going to see Deadpool are going to accept whatever it is he does. Especially since in the first movie, it doesn't really say what time he's in. You never see Professor X. He mentions, is it McAvoy or Stewart? This could be in any timeline right now. We really could be anywhere.
That's more of a fourth wall break than a
It's
plot
a fourth
line,
wall break, but still it's the point that he could be in any point in time right now. So Wolverine could technically be around. I'm just saying. You can do it if you try, Deadpool. I believe in you.
It's going to come down to writing and logistics and getting schedules together. And as we all know in Hollywood, that can get quite complicated.
Yeah. I think Hugh Jackman will do it if they can make their schedules sync up. And it wouldn't even have to be a full movie. Just get him in there long enough for some quips to go back and forth and for Wolverine to just like stab him a few times. That's all I want. And Hugh Jackman, you have to take your shirt off. I'm sorry. That is part of your contract. So, you know.
We don't have a hard release date on Deadpool 2, but they are saying 2018.
2018. And I'm fine with the wait. Again, you don't want to rush perfection. They did a fantastic job with the first one. I hope that continues into the second. And with Ryan Reynolds still kind of steering the ship, it seems, it probably will go very well. So I believe in that. Our last bit of news, Ben Affleck has stepped down from directing the Batman movie. That could mean a lot of things. Right now, they're saying that he's written as much as he was planning to write. He's sending it off to Jeff Johns now, who's going to be taking over. He's still going to play Batman. He's still going to be producing, I believe, and he has still written part of the screenplay, but he's trying to focus more on getting into character. But the whole thing that has a bunch of us nervous is that Ben Affleck said he would only direct the Batman movie if it had a good story and a good script. And now he's not directing the Batman movie, so we're all a little terrified. Because Ben Affleck, you were the only good part of Batman vs. Superman, and Wonder Woman, you were great. So I don't know what to take away from that.
This seems to be a trend in the DCU, though, because the Flash movie lost its director twice. Wonder Woman lost its director once.
Yeah.
Is there something going on over at DC in the movies that they're making?
I think they're trying to control too much of it, pissing off all the creative people, and they're just dropping like flies. I'm really concerned that it's going to happen like Batman vs. Superman and Suicide Squad, where you get too many different hands in it, it gets all mashed together, and it makes no sense. Or, not that it necessarily makes no sense, it could have been better. So I'm very concerned this is what's going to be happening with this Batman movie, because there's really no, it's either there's no overarching supervision, and at the same time there's too much control from the producers and the people with the money, which I know there's got to be some give and take there, but it seems like they're pissing off a lot of directors, and I don't feel like that's a good thing.
I'm not too worried about it simply because this Batman movie is going to be Ben Affleck's brainchild, whether he directs it or not.
The director's got a lot to say, though.
The director has a lot to say, but I think
a lot of crap can happen in editing that.
But I don't think they're going to put a director in place without Ben Affleck's approval, because this, I mean, he's hungry for redemption, man. He really wants to get things going. He wants to get things back into good.
Ben Affleck really needs redemption. He's done some great things since his early days. I mean, he's won awards and stuff. I personally don't care for him too much as an actor, unless you count the Kevin Smith movies that he's been in. But I really liked him as Batman. He was a great Batman. He was a good Bruce Wayne, and I think he brings a lot to the table, so I'm really concerned as to why he's backing down from directing. Maybe it is just that, he's done his part, he's written what he needs to write to get it where it wants to go, and now he's stepping back so that he can actually bring the best Batman to the table. But still very concerning when the whole point, not the whole point, but when a big push for this was that Ben Affleck was going to direct and star in the movie, and he said he would direct so long as the story was good. And now he's stepping down. He's not directing. It's not being shot yet. It's not like they've been starting the movie, he's directed some scenes, and now he's going to step away so that someone can direct him as Batman. He's not even started shooting yet. So I'm very concerned.
I still remain hopeful. After the debacle of Superman vs. Batman, after his debacle as Daredevil way back, he wants this to go well. He needs this to go well, and I don't think he's going to let it fail.
Well, I think he'll be great in it regardless. I don't know, DC. You're not bringing your A game here. So
Suicide Squad did okay though.
Suicide Squad was okay, but again, they had that problem where too many people were involved, too many creative things going on here and there, and they just started picking things out that they wanted. And it didn't have to be that way. It could have been a much more cohesive, coherent story if you just let the first person do what they wanted to do. Maybe it wouldn't have been the best movie, but it may not have had as many disruptions as it did. I still loved it. Harley Quinn was fantastic. Margot Robbie was great. Will Smith as Deadshot was out of this world. The woman who played Amanda Waller, I wanted to punch her in her face, and that's amazing to do. Yeah. So I'm hoping they bring that same level to the Batman with the actors, but story-wise, I'm just concerned. I'm concerned. I'm holding my hopes way down, pushing it down, way down deep. We'll see what happens with Ben Affleck.
Fingers crossed, though.
Fingers crossed.
So what do you guys think? Leave some comments below. Let us know what you thought about some of the things we covered. What are some of the things that we missed that you want us to cover?
Yeah. How excited are you to see Deadpool and Wolverine? Put it in the comments. We'll email it to Ryan Reynolds, and we'll make him and Hugh Jackman do this movie. It'll just be their own movie. It's just gonna be them with a video recorder, just following themselves around, just talking. I'll watch that.
If you like the video, give us a like, subscribe, help us get to 100 subscribers.
Yep. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. And, shoot us off a message every now and again. Let us know how we're doing.
We want to hear from you guys.
Yeah. And again, like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. If you don't, tell someone you hate. Ruin their day. I'm fine with that. I will be the person that spites them for you. I promise.
It's true. She's very spiteful.
I am. I feel bad for you.
Yeah, it's all right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, Internet.